Operation Foxley, a bold plan to assassinate Hitler. My name is Colonel Richard Lawson of the British Army, specifically from the 2nd Special Air Service Regiment, 2nd SAS, under the Special Operations Executive, SOE. I was one of the commanding officers involved in the most audacious plan the Allies ever conceived to eliminate Adolf Hitler. Codenamed Operation Foxley, this mission was designed to end the Führer's reign of terror with a single, precise strike. This is the story of how we came tantalizingly close to altering the course of history. It was October 1944, deep within the labyrinthine corridors of the SOE headquarters in Baker Street, London. The room buzzed with a sense of grim determination as we gathered around a large oak table, cluttered with maps, photographs and intelligence reports, all pointing to one target: the Berghof, Hitler's mountain retreat in the Bavarian Alps. Our mission was clear: eliminate Hitler and cripple the Nazi war machine. The Berghof was located in the picturesque yet remote Obersalzberg region, near the town of Berchtesgaden in southeastern Germany. Perched high in the Bavarian Alps, it was both a fortress and a retreat, heavily guarded by the SS and shielded by the natural terrain. The approach was treacherous, with dense forests, steep inclines, and unpredictable weather conditions. The intelligence had been meticulously gathered over months. Our spies, embedded deep within Germany and aided by the courageous resistance fighters, had documented Hitler's routine down to the minute. He took his morning walk at the same time every day, usually between 10 and 11 a.m., accompanied by minimal security. This was our window of opportunity. Detailed maps of the Berghof, photographs from reconnaissance missions, and intercepted communications all pointed to the same conclusion. Hitler's morning walks were his most vulnerable moments. By late 1944, the tide of war had turned decisively against Germany. The Allies had landed in Normandy on D-Day, June 6, 1944, and were pushing through France and into Germany. The Soviet Red Army was advancing relentlessly from the east, and the Axis powers were being squeezed on both fronts. Hitler's leadership was increasingly erratic, and his inner circle was rife with paranoia and infighting. The Allies knew that eliminating Hitler could hasten the end of the war and save countless lives. 2 months later, in December, the briefing room at RAF Tempsford felt like a pressure cooker. "Colonel Lawson, you will lead the operation," my superior, Major General Wilson, announced. "We've selected 2 of our best men for the job, Sergeant Alec Graham, our sharpshooter, and Captain Peter Travers, an expert in covert operations." Sergeant Graham was a marksman with unparalleled precision, having honed his skills in numerous clandestine missions across Europe. Captain Travers, on the other hand, was a master of disguise and infiltration, capable of blending into any environment. Together, they were the perfect team for this high-stakes mission. I nodded, feeling the weight of the mission settling on my shoulders. Failure was not an option. The plan was simple, yet incredibly risky. We would parachute into Germany, make our way to the Berghof, and wait for the perfect moment to strike. On the night of January 11, 1945, we boarded a Handley Page Halifax, a 4-engine heavy bomber modified for parachute operations. The aircraft roared into the night sky, and we soared above the dark, icy Bavarian landscape. The roar of the engines was deafening as we prepared to jump. The cold, thin air bit into our faces as we leaped into the night sky. The descent was swift, and within minutes, we had landed in the dense forests surrounding the Berghof. Navigating through the forest in the dead of night, we moved with the silence of shadows. Every snap of a twig, every rustling of leaves, made our hearts race. We were deep in enemy territory, and discovery meant certain death. The snow-covered ground muffled our footsteps, but the biting cold was relentless. We wore standard-issue winter camouflage gear and carried silenced Sten guns, grenades, and a radio for communication. Sergeant Graham's weapon of choice was a Lee Enfield No. 4 MKIT sniper rifle, renowned for its accuracy. As we approached the designated area, the reality of our mission began to weigh heavily on us. This was not just another operation, it was a mission to change the course of history. The tension was palpable, but so was the camaraderie. We knew we were on the precipice of something monumental. Days of careful observation had paid off. We had identified the perfect spot for the ambush, a wooded area along Hitler's walking route, just outside the heavily fortified perimeter. We set up our hideout, camouflaging ourselves among the trees and rocks. Sergeant Graham, our sniper, positioned himself with a clear line of sight to the path Hitler would take. The date was January 15, 1945. Dawn broke, casting long shadows across the snow-covered landscape. The air was crisp and silent. We waited, every second feeling like an eternity. And then we heard it. The unmistakable sound of footsteps crunching on the snow. Through the scope of his rifle, Sergeant Graham saw him. Hitler, dressed in his customary military coat, accompanied by his SS guards, was walking right into our trap. My heart pounded as I gave the signal. Graham took a deep breath, his finger tightening on the trigger. The setup was perfect. The weather had been in our favor. Clear skies and fresh snow provided excellent visibility for Graham. The SS guards were relaxed, their vigilance lowered by the familiarity of the routine. Hitler's path brought him within 100 meters of Graham's position, an easy shot for a sniper of his caliber. But then, fate intervened. A sudden movement, a bird taking flight, distracted Graham for a split second. When he refocused, the SS guards had closed ranks around Hitler. The shot was no longer clear. We couldn't risk a miss. The consequences would be disastrous. If we were discovered, the entire operation would be compromised, and Hitler's security would be tightened even further. "Abort," I whispered into the radio, my voice barely audible. "We'll get another chance." We melted back into the forest, our nerves frayed, but our resolve unshaken. The mission wasn't over. It was merely postponed. We would wait for another opportunity, no matter how long it took. Operation Foxley was ultimately never completed. Shifts in the war's dynamics and the rapid advance of Allied forces towards Berlin rendered our mission unnecessary. Hitler's end came not from a sniper's bullet, but from his own hand, deep within his bunker. As I look back on those tense frozen days in Bavaria, I often wonder how different the world might have been if we'd succeeded. But such is the nature of war, filled with missed opportunities and what-ifs. We came close, incredibly close, to rewriting history. And while Operation Foxley remains a fascinating footnote in the annals of World War II, it stands as a testament to the bravery and determination of those who dared to take on the most dangerous mission of all.